Hey guys, Brian here with Better Chess Training, and in today's video, we're going to be solving an endgame study, and I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of solving endgame studies as part of your training. Okay, in this video, we're going to be looking at this endgame study. It is white to move and draw. So you're trying to draw this position with white. And I got this from this book I got for Christmas. It is this composer, Tigran Gorgiev, and 100 of his practical studies. So these are studies with positions that maybe could be reminiscent of something could actually show up on a chessboard. I really think that solving these types of studies can be very helpful for your chess. I've really only started doing this a little more recently. Couple benefits, I think, is that it really helps push your calculation and visualization skills, but also your thinking method or thinking process. Because what it is forcing you to do is actually um, look for your opponent's best replies, not just your best moves. And this is what something we should be doing in our chess games. And I have to admit, sometimes I don't always do that. So, with that in mind, I think that these are very useful exercises to supplement your other training, of course. So, for this, here's what I would suggest: give yourself 15 minutes to start and set up the board. Again, it's white to move and draw. And after those 15 minutes, if you feel like you're on the right track, but you haven't quite solved it, I would give yourself another 15 minutes for a total of 30 minutes. And if you don't have a clue at all or just find it very difficult, that's fine. Your effort is still very beneficial to you. And what I would do then is watch the solution and see if you understand it and see if you could go back to that position and understand how that came up. And in my solution, I'm going to also talk to you about my thought process as we went along. Okay, so pause the video and I'll see you in 15 minutes. Okay, let's take a look at this. I hope that you guys were able to make some headway, but if you didn't or weren't able to find the solution, that's okay. You'll do better next time and just do your best to try to understand the solution. So when we look at this, the big threat here is this promotion of this B pawn. So we need to worry about that, of course. And of course, this D pawn is also very difficult. And of course, direct methods to just capture, for example, the D pawn result in this B pawn promoting. Um, Problem with, we might want to try to directly stop the B pawn like so. But here, the problem is the D pawn. So how are we going to resolve that? Okay, and so one of the things about solving endgame studies, and these are actually techniques that can be used that are used in some of the theoretical endgames too, is that sometimes when you have your opponent's king is on the side or the one of the back ranks, there are potential to gain tempos by threatening checkmate. Okay, and so that's where I started my exploration with king to c5. And here, of course, any promotion like so would result in a checkmate. So black has to get out of it. Now there's two ways black can go, either to a4 or to a6. Now let's take a look at a4. In this case, we just move our king down and threaten checkmate again. And of course, if our opponent goes to a3, if black goes to a3, we checkmate there. So the king just has to move back. And here in this particular position, we can either repeat or in this case, we can actually just take. And then if our opponent promotes, we hit him with a check, and then we trade off. We trade off the rook and the queen, and then we'll be able to eventually sacrifice our bishop for this pawn and draw. Okay, so the king cannot go to a4. So let's try a6. Now here I looked at a few lines, and let me just take a quick look at my notes here. And the issue I had here was I took here on d3, and this is after exploring attempts with rook to d6 check don't work because the king eventually just gets out of the way, and there's no progress that can be made from this particular position because the b1 pawn, if we try to stop it again, d2 is the threat. Okay, so I tried taking this pawn directly. Rook takes d3, and after the bishop queens, I tried to see is there any way to trade here. But the problem is my king is in the wrong place. And if the king were on c4, I'd be able to play rook to b3 check. But then I started to look in this particular position. If I could, for example, get the queen here to b3, okay? And what happens here is I'm starting to look to see maybe there are some stalemate threats. For example, if this knight were on f5, all of the squares around the king would be covered and we'd have a stalemate. Okay? So that kind of led me onto the next part of my exploration. So after king to c5, of course, the king has to go to a6. Is there any way to get this knight to f5? Now, first, I thought, well, if I take on d3 and then my opponent queens, if I take with the bishop now, the problem is there's too many possible checks here. Queen to c2 check, queen to g1 check. And I tried doing some calculation of those to see if there was any way I can block the checks with tempo. But then it kind of spoils my my theme of trying to get into stalemate because otherwise black just has a big advantage here. So going back here, king to c5, king to a6, and here I explored bishop takes f5. Now here, if black tries to promote, I have bishop to d3 check, forking the queen and king. And then black actually has the advantage. And therefore, in my mind, I thought we have to take with the knight. Okay? And at that point, we can take this pawn. And if black promotes, we have rook to a3 check, king to b7 is forced, and now rook to b3 check, threatening the queen and the king, forcing this capture, and now we have stalemate. And so that is actually the solution. So just want to go back to the beginning position and look at a couple of the themes here. One of my training partner came up with rook to d8 with the idea that if b1 queen, rook to 8 check, king to b6, rook to b8 check, king to a7, and then rook takes b1, and then this rook will be in time to stop all of this. The problem with that, and again, this is where with these endgame studies, you need to look at all of the possible moves, the best resistance that black can put up. Here, instead of promoting, king to a6 again threatens to promote, because after rook to a8 check, we have king to b7 stopping any further checks. Okay, but even past that, after king to a6, if we try to just stop the pawn directly, again we have this d2, and the white cannot stop the d pawn from promoting. So going back to the solution, or going back to the beginning position, this is sort of the thought process I took to get the solution. And after looking, what we actually did was my training partner, we looked at her solution and kind of tried to find what was wrong with it there too. So it was very interesting trying to come up with how to break each other's solutions, I guess you could say. But going back to this, if you found king to c5, then that was very good. And let me just go over the solution one more time. King to c5, again, king to a4 will just lead to checkmate or repetition. And so we have to go king to a6. And here, the key move is bishop to f5. And then logically, the way we are able to find that is if we can look at the other branch of it with the rook and see that if we can get the queen to c3 or to b3 and the knight to f5 and the king to b7, that it will be a stalemate, as I showed you a little earlier. So after bishop takes f5, again, we see that trying to promote doesn't work, and therefore knight takes f5 is forced. And after that, white can take the d-pawn. And after black promotes, we have this very elegant finish here with rook to a3 check, king to b7, and then this fork of the queen on b1 and the king. So, of course, the queen has to take, otherwise black is just losing. And in this final position, we can see a very nice setup here with this stalemate. So, how did you guys do? Let me know in the comments. Were there any other moves that you thought worked? I really enjoy doing these endgame studies, and if you can find a good partner around your strength who you can do them with, that makes it even more enjoyable. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Endgame studies are becoming a bigger part of my training. I'm trying to do it a few times a week, and I find them both enjoyable as well as beneficial to my calculation and visualization skills. I have links down below to both this book where I got today's study from, as well as another good book that I'm working through, which is called Domination in 2,545 Endgame Studies by Kasparian. It's an older book, but it's got over 2,000 studies, and they're all very game-like situations with very beautiful and challenging solutions. So check those out down below. In addition to studies, I always recommend doing tactics problems. Of course, there's many tactics servers, but a book I like, which I'll put a link to my review video over here, is the Woodpecker Method. It has I believe, over 1,000 problems with, and most of them are with the world champion, one of the world champions involved in the game that the problem is taken from. So check those out, and I'll talk to you soon.